Welcome to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. It's your opportunity to learn more about your garden and your yard, about dealing with pests, and about taking care of the birds. You can be part of the show with your questions at 395-1450. That's 395-1450. And now, from DeBruyn Seeds on Washington Avenue in Zeeland, here's the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
And good morning, everyone. We have sunshine today. I am so excited. Oh, my goodness. I saw that sun come up, and oh, my goodness, praise the Lord. You know, it's just a lovely way to end the year. I hope tomorrow's the same. Probably won't be, but just to be able to see a day of sunshine is a wonderful thing. So not that you have to get outside and do anything, but just enjoy that sunshine through the windows. Your houseplants will love it. Just going to remind people, I am still taking anything that you have for Puerto Rico, for Island Dogs and Save a Gato. I've continued to do that. I've got some boxes I was going to send out the first of the year. I got to get on that project today. But I will take any medications that your dog or cat got prescribed and you didn't give them all, like you didn't give all your antibiotics or whatever. I will gladly take it. If you got extra heartworm or flea and tick medication, I'll take that. If you've got a full bottle of dog shampoo, even, I'll take something like that. Any kind of animal supplies, bandaging materials, syringes, needles, things like that. And also I'll take if you got a prescription that you didn't take all of, I'll gladly take that too, because 90% of all medications will go from human to animal. So don't even think about it. I can make it happen, and I will get it down there for them. So thank you very much in advance. And thank you very much for everybody that came in and bought one of our DeBruyn 2024 pet calendars. Thank you so much. We earned a lot of money for Island Dogs and Save a Gato. I'll send that down when I send my boxes down. I am so excited. You know, we gotta give. You gotta give. That's part of life. Is you have to give. You can't always take. And this is also the last day of our pet food drive. We've done this for a month now. We've gotten quite a bit. But if you haven't done so, you can quick run into DeBruyn's. You can buy some dog or cat food at DeBruyn's and put it under our Christmas tree, or you can run out to the grocery store or wherever and pick up something and bring it on in. This is a great time to do one of those BOGOs, buy one, get one. This is Gary's idea. Buy one for your dog or cat, buy another one for free, bring it in for the pet food drive. It goes to Furry Friends Pet Food Pantry. They help people around the area. It is expensive to feed an animal. Dog food and cat food go up all the time. And some people have, their best friend, they can't afford to feed them anymore, and they'd have to surrender them. But if we can help them out a little bit, I'm more than happy to do so. And we can maybe keep some best friends in their houses where they belong. They don't belong in some shelter somewhere. We don't need animals that have lived somewhere for a couple of years and all of a sudden, hey, you're too expensive and they get dumped off. We don't need that. So let's keep them in their homes. All right. I've got a couple of things for continuing ed. One that's coming up January 8th, and it's called the Plant Quest, the quest for amazing plants for Midwest gardeners. This is a Zoom presentation from Michigan State Extension. It cost is $40 until January 7, and then it goes up to $50. It is 4 sessions with well-known botanists, people that own arboretums or run arboretums or work at universities around the Midwest. And they are going to talk about the plants that they think that they're kind of under the radar. They aren't the normal plants that everybody does, but they're really a great plant for landscaping, low maintenance, whatever. The first one that kicks off is Matthew Ross, and he is at the historical Barnes Park in Traverse City, and he has got. I have heard him before, and he has got some wonderful things you would never think of putting in your landscape. They're native. They work here. They work well. They play with other things well in the landscape. He alone is well worth listening to. But it is 4 sessions between January 8 and January 29. I believe it's Monday nights from 6 until 7:15. If you like me, are traveling from work to home during that time, you can get a recording of the session right after it's done, and you can listen to it that way. Or at the end, you can get all 4 of them and listen to it that way. They are going to be well worth the $40 charge. It's something that you get to learn, something that you can kind of put away in the back of your head, and you go, oh, I really like that. I really like that there. All right, the next one. This is the expensive one. This is Foundations of Gardening, and that runs February 1 to April 11. It's Thursday evenings from 6 until 8:30. It's a 2.5-hour class. It's got presenters. This is also via Zoom from Michigan State Extension. You're going to learn how to create healthy soils and plants and manage diseases and pests and attract pollinators and so much more. This is the class that you must take before you want to become a master gardener here in the state of Michigan. So if you thought you want to become a master gardener, you need to take the Foundations of Gardening class. Now, the cost of the course is $350. I know there were some scholarships available, and you might want to go to the Michigan State Extension and look for Foundations of Gardening and see about the registration and see if there are any more scholarships left, and check out the syllabus for the thing. When I did Master Gardener thing, it was so interesting, and you cover everything. Every week is a different subject, and you'd be surprised. I remember we had to do a test every week, and you have to pass the test. It's open book. It's not like you got to sit there and try to remember it. And I think it was mainly multiple choice. I can't remember now, but you do have to take a test every week and a test at the end. But, that is only if you want to become a master gardener. If you don't want to become a master gardener, and if you just want to take the class just to learn something, you don't need to do the testing. You don't need to be worried about, oh my goodness, am I going to pass this or not? So, yes, but it still costs something. It's $350, and it is a class that you will get. I have this huge notebook, and Ken and I both have one of these. It has got like everything you've ever wanted to know about anything. It's huge. It's got everything. It's impossible to remember everything, but you get the notebook and you get all of this stuff, handouts every week that you can print out, and you've got for your own reference. So well worth the time and the effort to do the Foundations of Gardening class. And last but not least is I have done this one before, and I love this class, and it's called Master the Science and Art of Pruning. And you're like, it's an art to prune things? And yes, it is. This is another class that costs $40, and it is a Zoom class, and it is limited in number how many people can do this. And I think it's limited to between 30 and 40. After you pay, you register and pay, you can actually send in pictures of plants and shrubs and trees on your property that you have not a clue of how to do correctly. I mean, if you've got some apple trees or whatever, take some pictures of it, send them in, ask how you would do this. And she will tell you, she'll put your pictures up on the screen, and she will tell you exactly what you need to do. It is so informative. She teaches you how to trim, what to trim. It's amazing. One of our guys is taking it this year. I did it a couple of years ago, and I thought it was wonderful. Now, there are two classes they're doing, one on January 31 and one on February 21, and it goes from 1 until 5. So this is not a short class. Oh, and I see we have got a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Show. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Jan.
Oh, hi.
I was wondering, can I still cut down my oak hydrangea, or is it too late?
You know what? It's the weather has certainly been conducive to doing that. I would say go ahead and do it.
Okay, to about a foot maybe or so above the ground?
Yep, that would be fine. Yeah.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you, Jan.
Yep,
Have
you're
a happy
welcome.
New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year
Bye.
to you too. Yeah, the weather has been conducive to still being able to do that sort of thing. So if you haven't done it, I'll go out there. I mean, if you haven't planted your tulips or daffodils, you can still do that. The ground is not frozen. So, you can go ahead and do it. I don't believe we have any more tulips left, and we might have some daffodils. I think the tulips are now gone. But yes, we had nothing to, we always take our leftover tulips and we pot them up and we, for forcing in the spring. And then we bring them over to shut-ins or whatever, and we sell some in the store. And it's so much fun to do that. And, Ken the other day announced that we don't have any tulips to force. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. So I ordered a couple hundred tulips just to put in pots. So as soon as they come in, I will be putting them in pots, and we put them away in our back garage. And what I do and how to force a tulip or a daffodil, it's easy enough. Get a good sized pot, and you'd be surprised how many you can get in a pot. You can put them right next to each other, but they cannot be touching each other. And there's always a flat end on a tulip bulb. You put the flat end toward the edge of the edge of the planter or whatever you've got. But you can, in a 12-inch pot, I bet you can get probably 18, 20 tulips in there. You'd be surprised. And, put them all through the center and right up through the center, and you will have a lovely thing. But you plant them in the ground or in the pot just so the very tips of the tops of that tulip are right at the top level of the soil. It's not hard. Put some dirt in the bottom, put the tulips in, and then put some soil over it, pack it down nice, water it well, and then you put it where it's going to be dark and cold for the next couple of months. At the rate we're going, nothing's ever going to be cold, but at least make it so it's dormant. We put it in our back garage. It's not heated and it's cold back there. Doesn't get any snow, but that works well. After about 2 months, you can go back there and check it. I also put plastic bags over them, but we'll talk more about that once we come back after these messages.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
All right, we're back where we're talking about forcing tulip bulbs. If you have them and you don't want to plant them in the ground, you can put them in pots. And just remember, when you put them in the pot, you don't let them touch each other. There's got to be some soil around them, but you can just pack them in. You don't have to be like outside where you got to space them, 4 inches apart or whatever. No, they go right next to each other. And the pots look the best if you can pack them in there. So just pack them in there and make sure that the top of the tulip bulb is at the top of the planter. And then I water them well. And then I put them in our back garage where it's nice and cold during the winter, not heated. And I cover them with plastic bags. I really don't want a lot of the water to evaporate, and B, I don't want a lot of sunshine on them. Not that I don't even think there's a window back there, but hey, I just cover them with plastic, and I, stack them up. And starting March 1, I start looking back there to see if anything's growing, and you'd be surprised. All of a sudden, you'll see those little things start poking up, and bring them in the store where it's a little warmer, and they grow like crazy. And they can be in your house. So it is a fun thing to do. It's an easy thing to do. And I put them at my house. I really don't have a place except I put them out on my deck. And that stays cold enough during the winter. I do cover them up, but they're out on my deck. So I don't want a lot of rain on them or snow on them, or the snow to melt. And that's why I put a black plastic garbage bag over them. But it works fine. And if you've never done it, you should try it at least once. It's always nice to have, a nice pot on your table filled with tulips in the spring. You don't get that chance. And if it's in the house, then the rabbits can't eat it. So that's even better. I love my rabbits at my house, except for in the spring when they eat all of my stuff. Then they're common enemy number one. I can't stand to see a rabbit in this early spring because they just mow down all of my stuff. But we have just gotten in a new product, and it's called Everguard, and it is an organic thing. It was developed in Maine, and they tested it in the forest in Maine so the deer and the moose and everybody else wouldn't be eating their shrubbery. And it seems to work extremely well. This is the only one that I know of that you can actually spray when it's below freezing. Everything else, it has to be above freezing to spray, and try keep it above freezing for 24 hours. This one you can spray, or it has granules also. You can do that when it is cold out. So if you see the deer are getting closer and closer to your arborvitae, you might want to get some Everguard out there and spray them. I have a friend that she lives in the woods, and she has hostas. And if anybody knows hostas and deer, you cannot have hostas if you have deer. It is just so hard to keep them away from them. She has no problem. She just sprays them with Everguard, and they're fine. Nobody comes and eats them. So if you want to save your landscape plants, and I sure want to save mine, because I just redid my front lawn, and they're expensive. So you don't want them to be mowing down on those things at the expense they would be for you to replace them. So the Everguard animal repellent is the one that you want. And actually, this one can be used in your garden also. I don't think it's Omni rated. The one that we have that is Omni rated that you can actually put on your vegetables is the thing called Plant Skid. It's made in Canada, I believe. It smells horrible. But it's not really the garlicky smell. It's more, the guys have this all down. If this is what they call the butcher, because it's got dried blood in it. That's what the guys call it, that it has more of a smell of that sort of thing. Whereas like the Everguard is more of the garlic. Liquid Fence has more of the rotten eggs. So everybody's got a different smell. The Everguard seems to work well in the winter. And then the Plant Skid, if you've got a garden that you want to keep those little rabbits from eating or whatever, the Plant Skid would be with stuff for you. It comes in granules also that you can put around your garden, and you can actually spray your plants with it too. Omni rated, so even in an organic garden, you can use the Plant Skid. So if you just don't want to even do gardening anymore because the rabbits and deer and everybody else is eating it except you might want to think about using the Plant Skid next year. just to save your garden. I sometimes I think I plant lettuce just for everybody else to eat. I might get some. I do plant lettuce, and we have an arrow garden in the store, and we planted some lettuce and some catnip in it. I wonder who the catnip's for, but the lettuce turns out extremely well in there. I was surprised at how well the lettuce did in the arrow garden. So you can grow your own lettuce and things like that in the house during the winter if you have like an arrow garden or one of the germination stations or one of the many things that we have for planting. We've got little miniature like the Jiffy greenhouse and hydro farm germination station. Some of them have lights above them because they do need light. We don't get enough light for plants indoors if you're just going to depend on the outside light and your windows bringing it in. You're going to need to supplement it. And we do have the lights that you can put, that you can use, but also a lot of these things like Arrow Garden or whatever has its own lights, and make sure that you get one that you can move up as the plants grow, because I'll tell you, once those plants touch that light, boy, they are bad. So make sure that you've got one that moves up, and I think most of them do, so it can grow with your plants. And it's fun. You can do just about anything that you want there. Well, maybe not carrots or anything like any root vegetable, but you can do a lot of herbs. You can do some tomatoes. Actually, get a small determinate plant. You should be able to do that. Obviously, lettuce, because I'm doing that. You can do a lot of greens. You can do, microgreens if you want. You can do just about anything. A lot of people like to do peas in their little gardens, and they just eat the pea shoots. We have a lot of organic farmers around here that just buy peas from us, and that's what they do is for micro gardens or greens. They just use the pea shoots. So, rather than paying an arm and a leg, you can do that in your own home, in your own kitchen, if you would like. So you don't have to pay that exorbitant price. So that works extremely well. It's something fun, again, and different to do during the winter. I like I've always got at least 3 or 4 different herbs on my kitchen counter. I use my under cabinet lighting at night. I always turn that on when I get home because my plants are kind of underneath that. And that seems to give them enough light. If I leave it on, until like 11 o'clock at night, that they seem to like that. My kitchen doesn't have only got one window on it in it. So it's not like it's really well lit with daylight, but the under cabinet lighting works extremely well. I've always wondered why I put that in, and it's for my basil and my parsley and my thyme. What else do I have growing right now? And I've got some dill growing right now too. I use it constantly, trim it constantly. You can have fun with it. My sister at Christmas, she just took all of her herbs and she dried them all last fall, and she made little herb concoctions, herb mixes, and gave us little herb things like this would be for your Spanish foods, and this would be for this and this. It's kind of fun. I've got an Italian herb that's just fresh herbs, or that she had dried last fall. So fun. I love drying my herbs. I do have some basil in the freezer in ice cube trays right now that I can use if I want to make some pesto, or even just to add to something. That basil always adds a little bit of freshness to stuff. I do like that. So it's fun. It's fun to grow herbs, and it's even more fun to be able to pick them directly in your kitchen. I don't really have to worry about any kind of insects on them. I know nobody sprayed them with anything unless it's been cleaner to clean the counter, but I don't have to worry about stuff like that. So when I'm using that and throw that into the food I'm cooking, I think it's a wonderful idea. So if anyone, and you try different things. The lettuce this is the first year I really tried lettuce. I usually do herbs. And I have done mustard actually. And I don't know why I did mustard because I'm really not a big mustard fan, but you can do the greens like collards and things like that. You're not going to get the huge collards, but you can get something, and you can get some enough at least to eat. So that's even the better part of it. So you're only limited by your imagination of what you can plant during the winter inside the house. So come down to DeBruyn's, take a look at the seed drawers, and think, what can I plant? So we need to stop. We need to listen to the news and figure out what's going on in the world. But we will be back with the garden show right after that happens.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
And we are back, and the sun is still out. Hey, go to either outside where it's warm, out of the wind, but there's not much wind today, or sit in the sun inside. I can tell you that's where my cat's going to be, following the sunshine inside. What a lovely day. And I can tell you right now, Butter at work is going to be sleeping on his bed in the window that has sunlight on it. And he will be so hot to the touch, and he will not move right now. I can foretell this right now of exactly where he'll be when I get back. So he's a lazy little guy. All right. I'm going to talk about a lot of us at least got some plants over the holiday season. You've got a poinsettia or a cactus or something or another. I'm going to just give a kind of a brief of how to take care of them. The first thing is poinsettias. They're absolutely beautiful. I have a beautiful one. Absolutely gorgeous. It is the prettiest color. I love it. Right now, I am just treating it like a house plant. I water it when it needs water. Stick your finger in the soil. If it feels wet, don't water it. If it feels a little dry, stick your finger in about 2 inches. And if it feels, dry, then go ahead and water it. Most of the poinsettias that I have seen come with a beautiful decorative foil wrapper. You take the foil wrapper off, take it out of there before you water it, because otherwise then I had this happen to me because I was really stupid one year. I kept watering it, and boy, I can't figure out where all this water is going. It wasn't running out, so I didn't think anything of it. I tried to pick it up to move it, and the water was in the foil wrapper, between the foil wrapper and the planter. So that was keeping the roots wet, which was not a good idea. So take it out of the foil wrapper, water it, and then put it back in. And it was hard to move that foil wrapper over to the sink. Believe me, it's not that sturdy. So let's avoid that. I just take my poinsettia over to the sink. I water it, let it run through. And once it's done running through, then I put it back in its little foil wrapper. That works well. As long as my plant looks nice in another, February, 3 or 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it's going to start dropping its leaves. That's what it does. And you can keep it for as long as you think it looks nice. There are ways, that you can keep it till next year. But honestly, it is so hard to get those things to bloom reliably and beautifully like the florists do, because you have to put them in absolute darkness for, it's like 15 hours a day. And it has to be like between 60 and 65 degrees and dark. And you don't open the door. You don't put it in a closet, and that's it. And then you have to bring it out in a sunshiny room at 75 degrees for the rest of the daylight period. And you have to do that for 3 months. Now, there's no way I am going to do that for 3 months. I'll probably do it for I don't know, a week, and then I'll forget about it. So you know what? It's a holiday plant. It's a stressful time of the year anyway. If it's starting to look bad, get rid of it. It's not a sign that you're a bad gardener or whatever. You've got a brown thumb. It's because that's the nature of the poinsettia. It does lose its leaves after it's got the bracts on the top are colored. It will lose its leaves. Pretty soon we'll start losing those. And it looks like a pretty horrible looking plant. And feel free to dump it then. It's okay. That's what most of the florists depend on, is you getting rid of them. And it's hard to keep that as a house plant. Now, amaryllis, once they are done blooming, and they will continue, mine has sent up one shoot already with some flowers on the top, and I'm seeing another one coming up. Once all of the flowers are done, cut off the flower stalk. Now, your amaryllis can be a house plant. Keep that as a house plant. Bring it outside in the summer. Put it out on the deck. Put it out in the patio. It will love being outside. Just remember to water it every once in a while. And then next fall, you bring it in, let it go dormant for a little bit, and then you can start it all over again. So that's the good thing about an amaryllis. Now, is an exception. If you've got a waxed amaryllis, that's the one that you just put out on your coffee table or whatever, has a little stand on it. That is the one that the bulb has been treated, so it's not going to bloom again. Just, enjoy the blooms that you get this first year. That's it on those. That's the big thing about those is you don't have to do anything. They just grow. It is way too much fun. So, everybody needs to have one of these in their house because they're too much fun. You can just set it out on your table and just in a, kind of a sunlit room, not in the bright sun. But, it's kind of fun. It grows all by itself. It blossoms. And once it's done, you just throw it away. And that's all. That's like the perfect house plant. And the perfect gift for anybody, especially for people that really don't have a green thumb or may not be home all the time and remember to water things. This is an amaryllis, a waxed amaryllis is a great thing. We still have some in the store, I know, at DeBruyn's, and they are not that expensive. So I would definitely, get a waxed amaryllis, even if you got a an amaryllis bulb that you planted. Also, I'd get a waxed one. Kind of fun to watch the two of them. The waxed amaryllis is not going to get terribly tall. Maybe about, About maybe 15 inches tall. So you don't have to worry about it falling over. It's bred to be a short one so it doesn't fall over. Our other ones, they can get 3 feet plus tall. So you might want to, get a yardstick out or something and tie them up so they grow up on something so they don't fall over. All right. He is telling me it is time to stop and listen to a few messages, and then we will be back with the garden show after that happens.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
And we are back. We were talking about houseplants that we got for Christmas. One other one I want to mention are paper whites. I love these things. They're so easy to grow. You can grow them in water, whatever. They are native to Israel and Lebanon. They're not native to our temperature. So these are a once and done bulb. Once they've had their pretty little white flowers, which they keep those for a month or so. So you'll have the flowers for quite a while. But once they're done, they're done, and you have to dump the bulb. No sense in trying to save it. It's really not going to be salvageable for you to do it again. Maybe if you did it in some dirt, but even then, it's basically a once and done type of thing. Christmas cactus, if you were lucky enough to get one of those, I don't. First year it really doesn't bloom a lot, but you'll get lots of blooms coming up in the next year. Just keep it healthy. Treat it like a nice house plant. It doesn't like to be overly watered, so don't be constantly there with the water. I know I have a friend that's constantly watering her house plants, and I water mine once a week. In the winter, if the air is dry in your house, you might want to water it a little bit more than normal, but don't be overdoing it in the winter. Most of the plants are not doing a lot of growing this time of year with the reduced amount of sunlight during the day. They're not growing as much. So really be careful with the watering this time of year, unless, of course, you've got such a dry house that they're going to be all dry too. I have got a lot of my plants in a group, and they are on a bed of pebbles, and I've got water in the pebbles, and that keeps the air a little moist around them. And so I really don't have to water that much. I know some people missed, and I was listening to some Michigan State saying that really didn't do enough. It just to mist around your plants. It doesn't do enough to keep your plants watered. So, and it does better if you're going to put them in a saucer that's got some water in it, or, above some rocks that have water in it. That will keep the humidity in the air, because there's a little microclimate if you've got your house plants all together. So I've got a little microplant climate going on in my living room where my cat always sits. So maybe it is a little warmer there. I don't know. But your Christmas cactus, be careful with the watering. And, if it's a small one, you don't have to do anything. I just got done. My Christmas cactus are finally done blooming right now. And I'm cutting the pink one back. That one got cut back by a third. And I want to do my yellow one back, but it put some more buds on there, so I'm really not going to be cutting it back anytime soon. But once it's done blooming, you can cut those back if they're getting too large. They can get huge if you don't do anything. So, you might want to think about cutting them back. Okay, so that's what, you do with your house plants this time of year. Do be careful. This is the time of year for the aphids and mealybugs and whiteflies to show up in force in your house. So do keep an eye on all of your plants, especially if you had some plants outside and you brought them in. They might not have shown any sign of any insects when they came in, but right around the first of the year is when all of a sudden people bring their plants in their pitchers and it's just covered with aphids. So we do have Bonide makes a insect granule that you put in the soil around the plant that will take care of those insects. And it works extremely well. So if you do have that sort of problem, you might want to quick run in and grab that. That works well. And, if you've got a sick plant, do isolate it from the rest of the plants. Don't keep that one, out there in the middle of all the rest of your plants. I mean, even if you put it in another room might be best until you get the insects or whatever under control. So keep that in mind. Don't keep them out in the middle of the floor. What else is one? Oh, what's going on at DeBruyn's? We've still got sunflower seed is on sale. Ken's going to extend that sale for a little while longer. So the 40-pound bags of black oil sunflower are still on sale. I would, if we do get ice, I would get ready for it. It's not going to help if we have a storm and it's icy and you don't have ice melt at your house, but we have it at DeBruyn's. So, get your ice melt. You don't have to get a huge bag of it. There are smaller bags of the ice melt nowadays that you can store in your garage just in case you get one of those weather and you need the mailman to get up to the front door or you have to get out. Ice melt works extremely well. Tell us what you've got and we can help you pick out the perfect ice melt. It gets a little confusing at times, I will say, which is, kind of an understatement. There are so many products out there. But yes, there are lots of products. We'll help pick out the right one for your driveway. And, if you don't want to hurt your landscape or if you've got new concrete or whatever, you got pets, whatever, we've got ice melt for you. Remember, I don't care what ice melt you use. I don't care if you do a pet-friendly ice melt. I want you to clean off the dog's or cat's paws when they come in between their paws. That is like my number one preaching job here this winter. We want to, they come in, and they're all happy they just got outside and then they get bored and they sit there. And then what do? They look at their feet and then they start chewing. And if they eat that, the ice melt that's stuck between their toes, that is when you really get a lot of problems. So I don't care that they walk in it. I just don't want them to eat it. So let's wipe off their paws when they come in. I want to tell you, Ken, just before Christmas, we wanted to see if people wanted this or whatever. We got in some wind chimes and we sold out of them almost immediately. Because every time you opened the door, you could hear them and they were beautiful. So we got a bunch more. So they are gorgeous. I've got one at home and it's based on Amazing Grace. And these things are tuned. And when you hit one, it's one of the first notes of that. It's so cool. We've got one that's Bach, one that's Canon in D, Pachelbel. So yes, you might want to check out those. They make great presents any time of the year. I don't know who wouldn't just love those things. So we need to get out of here. I will be back Tuesday morning on the day after New Year's Day. We're going to talk about end of year wrap ups. Who won the awards category for the end of the year, and we'll be doing that on the Talk of the Town with Gary between 10 and 11. Dan at 8:40 in the morning. We just talk about everything then. So who knows? But I will be back here next Saturday at 11:05 with the Garden Show. And I will be talking about all things indoors, I guess. So until we meet again, Happy New Year to everyone. Drive safely. Be careful out there. And until next year, go green.
You've been listening to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com. If you wish to hear this or other programs hosted by the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland, check out the podcast section of our website, WHTC.com, and listen or download for free. The Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show is a presentation of 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.